Forget the corner office. Forget the stock ticker. Forget the myth of the honest entrepreneur slowly building an empire. That story exists to keep you busy. Real financial power isn't about making money. Real power is about making dirty money disappear. Not tidy profits, but it is money stained with violence, cartels, and with bribes, and then gone without a trace. For years, one of the world's biggest banks didn't just enable that vanishing act. Nah, it perfected it. It became the cartel's bank of choice. They didn't get arrested. They paid a fine and walked away with the playbook. Stop skimming headlines like they mean anything. Outrage isn't analysis, it's entertainment. If you really want to understand how the untouchables stay untouchable, you don't study the scandal. You dissect the system that makes it possible. And if you're still watching this, I know you're not here for morality. You already know the game exists. What you're here for is the playbook. So you want to be a cartel banker? Then forget ethics. Lock in. Because there are only 3 rules that guarantee you survival: scalability and full-blown immunity. This is the only lesson that matters. This is the HSBC playbook. Now, your first lesson: the monopolist's mindset. You don't simply break the rules, you weaponize them. The goal isn't to look guilty on paper. It's to look compliant while failing by design. We call this Principle 1, the art of the broken filter. Every bank must flag suspicious transactions. That filter is supposed to protect the global economy. But a professional knows the difference between a real filter and a show filter. A system meant to be overwhelmed, not to stop the flow. HSBC lived inside that gap. For years, the bank chased growth and cost cuts, while compliance grew thin and outdated. The result? Roughly 17,000 alerts every month. Think about that number, 17,000. A mountain of noise for a molehill of staff. Analysts buried, alerts ignored. When the signals fade into static and the watchdogs are worn out, oversight turns into a performance. Just a stack of records to flash when the regulators come knocking. That was the bank's defense. Process without real review. The hard lesson here isn't technical trickery. It's structural. Design a system so cluttered, it betrays itself. That structural failure is what buys time, plausible deniability, and ultimately impunity. So, you've learned how shell companies create smoke layers of illusion. Now, we step deeper into the labyrinth, where the paper trail disappears entirely. Our focus today is HSBC, one of the world's largest banks and a masterclass in invisible money. Its affiliates allegedly helped sanction nations like Iran move billions right under the regulators' noses. This wasn't negligence. It was architecture, a system built to conceal through compliance. This is a standard international wire transfer. Clean, precise, traceable. Each field, originator, recipient, purpose, is a breadcrumb in the trail of global finance. But what happens when someone sweeps the breadcrumbs away? This is wire stripping. The surgical deletion of identity from money itself. It's like tearing the names off a confession and still filing it as evidence. HSBC systems were found to have facilitated transfers for nations under U.S. sanctions: Iran, Cuba, Sudan, Myanmar. How? By removing the origin and destination data before the transactions entered. American oversight. Without identifiers, the automated watchdogs saw nothing. Billions flowed freely, clean on paper, dirty in truth. It wasn't a bug in the system. It was the system. You've built your empire. You've broken the filter. You've cleaned the wires. Now comes the final step, the one that guarantees your survival. This is Principle 3, the golden rule of banking. The true secret to impunity isn't brilliant criminal planning, it's scale. Your goal is to be so deeply woven into the global financial system that punishing you would damage the world economy more than your crime ever could. You must become too big to fail. HSBC perfected this. After years of running a global financial sewer, they were finally caught. They admitted to laundering nearly $1 billion for the Sinaloa Cartel and other dark networks. So what was the consequence? A trial. Prison sentences for executives? No. They received what's called a deferred prosecution agreement. They paid a fine of $1.9 billion and walked away. Let that sink in. A fine, or just the cost of doing business. You pay the cover charge, and you keep the keys to the kingdom. Now look at the contrast. On one side, $1.9 billion, a rounding error for a bank of that size. On the other hand, the human cost. The cartel's violence this money fueled, the addiction, the deaths, the collapse of entire communities. The HSBC playbook proves a brutal truth. If you reach the top of financial power, the justice system won't touch you. You won't get shut down. You'll get a bill. So remember the formula. Overwhelm the watchdogs, erase the fingerprints, and grow so vast that your survival becomes everyone's problem. That is the golden rule. So there it is, the complete playbook, a blueprint for operating above the law, written by a bank that put profit before principle. You now know the 3 unbreakable rules of the financial outlaw. Overwhelm the watchdogs, erase the fingerprints, and become indispensable. HSBC didn't go to jail. It paid a $1.9 billion fine, a number that should have been justice, but instead became a line item, a cost of doing business. We've shown you the architecture, how systems were built to fail, how alerts were buried, how messages were stripped clean. This isn't a manual for success. It's a record of consequence. The playbook explains how power is won. It doesn't explain what that power costs. So ask yourself the one question that matters. Are you willing to pay the price?
Inside the shadow economy, cartel financiers exposed.